Where is the baby? Joining me, two special guests. Sheriff John Skipper joining us, the Anderson County Sheriff. Also with me, Joey Hudson, a host WGTK. First to you, Joey, what happened?
Well, Nancy, all we know is that the search resumed for a third day today for young Leona Wright. It all started Saturday morning when one-year-old Leona Wright's mother and boyfriend, according to the incident report, woke up and realized the child was not in their home, and they found the front door open.
Wait. Joey.
Yes.
So they wake up, and the baby's gone, and the front door is open, but Leona is only 1 year old. She's 2 feet tall, 29 pounds, last seen wearing a white sleep shirt. So that says to me, if she sleeps in the crib, this baby, just 29 pounds, has to get out of her crib at 1 year old. My children were walking at one, Joey. Okay, so I'm having a hard time getting this in my head. Get out of her crib, down from her crib, leave her bedroom, I assume she's got a room, and walks through the rest of the home to the front door, turns the front door, undoes all the locks, and walks out and leaves the door open. Joining us right now, Dr. Tim Gallagher, a forensic pathologist out of Daytona Beach, Florida. Dr. Gallagher, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me on the show, Nancy.
Dr. Gallagher, regardless of what happened or who did what, the home is still considered a crime scene. That's the last time we know that baby Leona was alive. So if you were looking, following the avenue of investigation, the baby was dead. What would you be looking for in her room?
Well, you'd be looking for things, number one, that probably shouldn't be there. For instance, ligatures or parts of plastic items that is not associated with a baby's room. The other thing you'd look for is bodily fluids that can be traced to the baby. For instance, blood or even spittle, saliva, in other words. Things like that don't necessarily belong in a baby's room can lead one to think that the child has met an untimely end.
Dr. Gallagher, how would the search for luminol how would the use of luminol work in that room?
Well, luminol, of course, is the chemical used to find human blood. And if you had applied luminol to the room and looked at it under dark conditions, you'd be able to find traces of blood in the room if it were there using the luminol.
See, here's the problem, Dr. Gallagher. You would expect to find the baby's bodily fluids in the room anyway, where the baby had TT'd or pooped or possibly blood. So when you find some of that DNA, it's arguably there for innocent reasons. However, regarding asphyxiation, a potential asphyxiation, would there be saliva? What evidence would there be, if any, a child had been asphyxiated?
Well, to address your first question, yes, you would expect the child's fluids and bodily excretions to be in the room as well, but it's the interpretation of your findings. Is there bodily fluid in areas that you would not expect? For instance, the walls or maybe high up on the furniture, things like that, places you would not expect, which would show you signs of a struggle.
What about the vehicle? What about the family vehicle? What would you look for in the vehicle and or the trunk?
You would look for, it's going to be difficult if the child had already been in the vehicle, but again, you would have to look for signs of a struggle, things that are
Doctor, a baby is not going to struggle enough to leave evidence of a struggle. It's not like it can tear down the furniture or tear up the car.
Well, you're right, but if you find articles of clothing that should be in the baby's room or in the baby's crib that have always been there and now they are found in the car, you can assume that the baby was transported, from the room and into the vehicle.
What about the bathroom or the bathtub?
Again, difficult because it is a communal bathroom probably, and you will find all the family members trace evidence there as well.
There are always usually circumstantial tips whether the baby is dead or alive. For instance, if you find the baby's toys, their sonograms, their blankets, their clothing thrown in the dumpster, right? you know the parents got rid of the baby, killed the baby.
That is true.
In this case, we don't have any of that. It could be true. The baby walked out the door. But here's the thing, Dr. Gallagher. My children could not walk at age 1 at 29 pounds, 2 feet. Could not walk. Now, the sheriff tells me this baby could barely walk, couldn't really full-on walk. So how could a baby that can't really walk get that far away on its own?
Well, that story doesn't even pass the common sense test. It probably would have had to been assisted by an adult or abducted by an adult to cover that type of ground. Many studies show that a child that age, even under the best of circumstances, can probably traverse about 100 or 200 feet at the most.